Hello, everybody, and welcome back to day 4 of my Forex trading journey. And right out the gate, we're going to go ahead and click on the buy button right here, and we are going to get this thing cracking. So I hope each and every one of you are having a fantastic start to your morning wherever you are located. And yes, we have the buy arrow right here. We have a couple of different buy alerts that popped up before my start to the trading morning. And I want to go ahead and write down the number that we did start off with. I had that number in mind, 1112.55. That number, how come it's important? It's because that is our equity number. Let me go ahead and just circle that again. This is the number that we are paying attention to right here. This equity number. Equity, that's the resource that we use, that we identify how we are doing in terms of progress. Balance is important, but the only way we're going to be able to move this, or not necessarily move the market, but how we can move our own accounts, is if we are resourceful with our equity right over here. And of course, I'm paying attention to the most recent trade that is opened up. And we can make sure that that is indeed our most recent trade by going over here and looking at our arrow. We want to make sure that it is pointing up on our time right here. So here we go. Again, we left clicked on time to make sure that that arrow pops up on that upward direction right over here. So with that being said, we are already seeing, our first action of the day. And that's basically a good sign for us because right now we are moving with our trading. Again, we always start the morning at around 5 a.m. Mountain to about 10 a.m. Mountain as well. So all good signs right here. Just understanding that we have a trade to begin our morning. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's also talk about a few things right here. Now you're going to notice that that even though our buy arrow came over here, let's talk about some other things that I'm noticing in the market that's helping me with this decision, right? So we go ahead and I pull up our tool right here. Now this is what's called a horizontal line tool. I believe I mentioned or I've shown this particular tool before when we were looking at the charts, whether it was, I believe, day 1 or day 2, right around those days. The idea with this was to show how come the arrow itself was being produced. Now, the other reason I wanted to show this off is because of the fact that we do have a support that is coming in. Now, with this particular support right here, we can understand that right now we can see that price right now, being that it is in a upward trend at the moment, especially because it would produce it. We only get a buy arrow when we are moving in a upward direction. We can then what we're going to be looking for, is to buy low and sell high. Let me go ahead and write that down again. We buy low and sell high. This is a concept that you'll understand a lot more as we move forward through our journey together. And the way that we can tell if we are at the low point or the high point is looking for our horizontal lines, our support, and our resistance. Now, our support right here, which is what I've indicated with this line right here. So let's bring that up. Boom. That's a support line. Now, all we're gauging with the support line right here is that price refuses to break or move. Let me write that again. Price refuses to go past or go below this line. Oh, as we can see, our arrow just closed in on us. So let's go ahead and let's protect ourselves. Okay. So we got a sell trade right here. Now I did make a mistake, and that is on me. I should have went ahead and closed a buy trade right here that was already in profit. I did not do that, and so we were not able to capitalize on that particular move, and that's okay. Again, we saw that the down arrow stopped, and we said to ourselves, okay, we want to make sure that our capital is protected. We want to make sure that our equity is protected. Again, that is the most important resource. And so it's great for us that we were able to see that arrow, disappearing quickly. We quickly get into our sell and we protect ourselves. Now, as we can see, prices coming back down. But again, we don't have whatever happens at this point, we won't necessarily know if it'll bounce up or if it'll come back down. However, the important part right here is to understand that if we want to protect ourselves in this market, we see that the arrow is going down, indicating that price is starting to break the uptrend. Then we protect ourselves. And if it decides to go up, then it decides to go up. We missed the move, but the most important part is not making the money. Again, the most important part is not making the money when it comes to Forex trading. The most important part of the equation right here is to ensure that we are moving forward in the right direction by making sure our equity is protected. And, for us, we're always so daunted with, the game of comparison. I think that's one of the more, what I like to call plights of Forex trading is the fact that, I know that there are other successful Forex traders within my community, and I'm very proud of them that they're able to move forward in the right direction. However, I don't want to be hung up in the fact that they are doing so well on their own accounts. They're going on their own journey, their own path. And I understand that I'm going on my own particular path, that I need to go ahead and ensure that I am moving forward in the direction that's needed to be moving forward. And for me, that's going to look a little bit different, especially with my strategy. It's not for necessarily everybody. And I mentioned this before. If this strategy is not for you, if my trading style is not for you, then don't watch. For me, I know that I have to learn still as a student and also teach as a master. However, I'm confident in my ability to go ahead and get to a point where perhaps I haven't learned everything right off the bat. Especially with being a coach, we get too hung up on the fact that we haven't learned anything and we don't teach what we already know. You may never know if what you're doing right now, can help somebody along their path. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep learning. We're going to keep growing together. And that's the absolute beautiful thing, not just in Forex trading, but in life. Hey, everybody. So we are back at the charts. I'm really glad that we decided to put that sell trade right there and protect our capital because as you can see, since we had placed that particular trade right there, let me grab my pen. Since we had placed that particular trade, I believe it was right here. It did go up a little bit, so that's cool. But then it went all the way down. Wow. And so now we're waiting for this sell arrow right here because we are definitely not in a upward trend anymore, but instead that we are in a downtrend. And now we're turning into the bearish side of things. And so we're going to wait for that candle to close before we go ahead and we make our move. Now, as we go ahead and we do that, I do want to go ahead and state one thing, because I know that a lot of the videos that I'm putting together are around at least the first 3 days, right? One was about 30 minutes, one was about an hour, and one was about 2 hours. And I know that I have the time to record those videos, I have the time to edit them, and I have the time to put them up on YouTube and everything like that. But I understand that people don't necessarily have the time to sit down and watch a whole video. That might be a little bit overwhelming. And while I like long videos, I don't mind watching long videos, I know that a lot of people would rather have a shorter video. And so what I would say to that is, as you're going through this journey alongside me, feel free to go at your own pace. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to write this down for you. Feel free to go at your own pace. Nothing feels worse than feeling like you're being rushed or you're being overwhelmed and, oh, I've got this 2-hour video, but I got, things in life, I get it. Those are the things that held me back for a long time in recording those videos. Do I have enough time? Are people going to sit down and watch a video like that? And I understand that people aren't going to mind, listening to a long video like this, but I understand that not everyone's in different situations, everyone's in different places, and everybody, most importantly, is on their own journey. And that is absolutely perfect. That is absolutely fine. The one thing that you always want to make sure that you are doing is that you are moving forward, whether that is a inch or whether that is a mile. You are moving forward. You are becoming a better version of today by gaining education and seeing what's going on and stretching your mind towards the concept of Forex trading than you were yesterday. You're a better version of today than you were yesterday, and that's awesome. That is perfect. And no matter what that looks like, no matter how you want to measure that, do know that progress is progress and nothing can change that. I want to adhere to a culture of progress here on this channel, no matter where you are, whether it's your first day, whether it's your second, third, or fourth day, no matter where you're at, you're doing absolutely perfect. And so as we go ahead and as we wait for this particular chart to, or this particular candle to close so we could place our trade, I do want to go ahead and, just share a little bit more about the book that I had read. I mentioned this before on day 3 for a little bit, Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And I was talking about, being unshakable is a state of mind and, having that unwavering confidence to go after what it is that you want. We're going to go ahead and get into a sell trade right now. Again, we see the down arrow that pointed. We saw there was a resistance point right around this marker right here that price failed to break. And so now we're anticipating a sell, and we're going to go ahead and look into getting that. Now, if I even drew a small trend line right here, let's do that. We can see that price has not broken that downward trend line either. So 2 confirmations for us that we are indeed looking to go ahead and we're looking to get into those trades. And so let's go ahead and let's talk about being unshakable. If you're knocked off balance, let's say. So as you could see, as you saw right there, I was a little bit off balance with that arrow that disappeared. Admittedly, I admit when I make mistakes. I was supposed to close this trade right here. That was the idea. I was supposed to close that trade right there, and I did not. I got off balance. My mental state panicked a little bit, if you will, and I did not do the thing that I was supposed to do. And rather than beat yourself up over it, because that's how I felt whenever I make a mistake. Oh, I'm stupid, or oh, I didn't do this. How could I do that? How could I be so, you know? And I feel like a lot of us know what that feels like when we beat ourselves up over absolutely nothing. Because again, we have to understand that the Forex market, there are millions and millions of opportunities out there. So we're easily going to make that mistake right back up. We're easily going to go ahead and come back to a point where we're going to be absolutely perfect. And so I don't want anyone on this channel or is viewing me, whether they, they saw that mistake, that's cool. I made a mistake. I'm free to admit it. It didn't cost me in the long run because again of our plan, but I did make a mistake. And who knows, potentially that could turn out to be a great thing for us down the future as we move forward. But I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna call it as I didn't make that mistake. I'll own up to it. I'll own up to it, the fact that I didn't do the thing that I was supposed to do. And as we have to understand that Forex trading isn't perfect right here. There are going to be a few losses that we take here and there, and then there's going to be a lot more wins that we desire or that we strive to go ahead and get done. And so we just have to go ahead and we have to look at the future. We have to look at what's happening presently in the here and now rather than go back to the past. I was on a seminar. I was on a seminar yesterday with Dean Graziosi. He's a fantastic marketer. He's a fantastic coach. And he said something that was so poignant, as we're moving forward through life, it's almost as if sometimes we have a string on our leg or back or wherever you want to call it, right? And we tend to carry a lot of baggage on that string. And I know for the most part, I've dealt with those issues before, baggage, right? What baggage, would I have, sure, past failures, past mistakes. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I would have done this. I should have done this, blah, 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 blah. Right. And with those, and what Dean said is that we want to take the scissors to this string that's holding all this crap that we have in the past, and we just want to cut it. I try to make the scissors sound I didn't necessarily work out the way I wanted to, but anyway, we want to cut the string that's holding all of our crap that we're holding. And I thought that was so poignant because it is true. What we don't want to necessarily carry that weight with us, the rest of our lives. Otherwise, how in the hell are we going to live our lives now? And not only that, but we want to live in the now. We don't even want to look at the future, because the future, that gives us anxiety. We think about the things that can go wrong. That's the beautiful thing with the mind and the brain, right? It always wants to, and this is because it is a brain, the mind is a self-preservation defense system where it gives us images. It gives us false images of a future that isn't reality. Sometimes that is the brain telling us all these things. It's saying, "Ooh, that trade's gonna go the other way, Jordan. Better stop that. Oh, you're gonna blow your account. Oh, what are you doing?" Those are the things that come into my mind those are the thoughts that try to penetrate my mind every single bleeping day. I'm not gonna curse here, but every single day, the same thing. All the BS. It's all the fear that's coming into my mind. And what I have to do in order to stay the way that I am in trading, calm, you got a plan, what we're doing. We look at the positives. We're, grateful we're able to do this together. Those are the things that are going to keep us going and allow us to block all the stuff that's coming in. because that stuff that's coming in, the negative thoughts, the negative talk, the inner doubt, all that, that's negative bull. And it's not easy to do it. It's simple to do it, but it's not easy. It took me a while to really grasp onto that concept. And for me, as a matter of having all these negative thoughts in my mind, and if we can go into detail, of course, perhaps in a later day on our journey, right? I don't mind being vulnerable, but I don't want to be too vulnerable right now. But a lot of what I had to do, because there were a lot of stuff that happened pandemic, right? A lot of stuff that happened these past 2 years. And so the best way I tackled all the stuff that caused me to become depressed, that caused me to get myself into those periods where I end up crying myself to sleep, or, going to bed when there was so much to do and I didn't feel like doing it. A lot of it was just I had to build a new way to condition my mind, right? And that's all we're doing. We're building a new way to condition our mind to prepare ourselves for the market. But we know that task, it doesn't happen like this. It doesn't, I don't know if you can hear my snapping, but it doesn't happen like that. It happens in bits and pieces, in a day by day, in a brick by brick situation. And so coming back to my point about being knocked off balance, if you're knocked off balance, you find your center quickly and regain your inner calm. So after that trade, so going back to this trade where I, did not do the thing, right? We don't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Hammer it in. But instead of just beating myself up, I said, okay, we did that. The objective was made where I didn't have margin going down right now. See, as we can tell that we are doing what we need to do for our equity, because our margin right here, it's shown a number. But we did the things the objective was made, the goal was made to where the margin stopped when I made that sell trade, and we were allowed to wait for our next opportunity. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're just waiting for the next opportunity, and here we are. And as we can see, we're moving along on that particular part right now. Now, even with the turmoil that's going on, right? So we saw, it went down, and then, all this crazy stuff happened right here, right? This would cause a lot of people to be like, do I want to go back in there because of all the high volatility? But I'm like, but we need to understand that even within all this craziness, this turmoil that I like to call it, what happened with the market and it spiked all the way down, we have to understand that we could take advantage of it now, because now we know the direction it was going in. So was it a bullish direction before, right? Before we placed that buy trade, and then we got out of it when we had to, when we saw a sign that it wasn't a necessarily enough trend anymore. Then it spiked all the way down, become a massive downtrend. And now we go ahead and we see an opportunity to come back into the market in the opposite direction. And now we can go ahead and we can capitalize on it. And we can go ahead and do what the trade needs to do. Now, I could close the trade right now if I wanted to, but that's not my goal. My goal is to go ahead and wait for this trade based on where we are in drawdown. My goal is to make sure this gets to about 30 pips. And when it gets to 30 pips, we'll close the trade and we'll move on. If it reverses on us and we have to put a break on it, then so be it. But I'm not deviating from my plan because it's easy and convenient. I'm going to go ahead and let the trade play out. There was a time where I could have gotten out of this trade and made about 60 cents, but what does that do? That doesn't show the plan being made. That doesn't show the plan in place. And for me to be the teacher that I need to be for all of you, I need to go ahead and practice what I preach. If I preach that I'm getting into these trades and waiting for a 30 pip, 3%, whatever, then I'm going to do just that. And does it mean I have to be patient? Absolutely. This is a game of patience right here. Forex trading is a game of patience and taking action. And that's something that if you don't have right now, you're going to learn it. You're going to learn it one way or another. So we're going to let that trade play out, and we're going to go from there. Now, having the presence of mind to be able to do this, right, it allows you to be, especially in the Forex market, it allows you to be a leader and not a follower or really anything in life. It allows you to be a leader. Now, there's a specific definition that I have for a leader. It's not that you want people to, and Tony Robbins said it best. It's not that you want people to follow you, right? You don't have to follow and take my trades, right? You could just sit and watch. Maybe you see something that I'm not seeing, and that told you, no, I'm not taking that trade, and that's your prerogative. I always say, and I've said this in my disclaimers, but I will go ahead and also state that trading, manual trading, all that is your responsibility. Now, you don't want to say, oh man, Jordan told me to do this, and because I did that, I lost money, so it's Jordan's fault. No. No, my results, I proudly say are my results. That I don't, that I don't blame the scalper for giving me a wrong trade, or I'm sorry, the software. I don't blame the indicator for giving me the wrong trade. I don't blame the market for not going my way. If it doesn't want to go my way, it doesn't want to go my way. I just say, okay, we put a pin on it, and then we wait for the next shoe to drop, and we take it from there. And by doing that, gives you a lot more control, gives you a lot of peace of mind. It gives you a confidence to say, hey, these are my results. Sure, I have a few cool toys that I can play with, but I'm the one who has to play with the toys. I'm the one who has to get creative with the toys in order to get the results that I want. So it's, and that's the way that we carry ourselves as being a leader. That's how we carry ourselves, as, having our control in what we do. Because having control in what we do is a lot cooler, right? It's a lot cooler to be the chess player, right? And not the chess piece. And one of the greatest things about Forex marketing, or business, anything in life, you don't have to predict the future to win the game. All right, none of us have a crystal ball about the market. I mean, it could go up, down, sideways, to Mars, to Jupiter, to Venus, to the solar system, and then back down again. That's the beautiful thing about the market. We don't know where it's going to go. None of us do. None of us have a crystal ball that says, oh, we're going to go this way. No. All we have to do is let the market play out. Let it do its thing. All we got to do is just wait here and gather the results. And once we gather the results, we move on to the next target, and we gather the results, move on to the next target. That's all there is. I don't even care. This right here, I'm not even caring about. It happens. Great. What's happening now on the other side? I don't care about, whenever I come into trading, yes, it's important to look at support, resistance, trend lines, seeing what's going on in the past. But here's the thing. We don't want to fixate on this part right here. So if I could put like a line right here, like this, and let's say this is the past, and I'm really sorry for my terrible chicken scratch writing right here. That's why I should probably type on the computer. And we've got the present right here, let's say. I don't care about, after I know what my moves are, I don't care about this. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just getting rid of all this nonsense. And all I care about is, where are we right now in the present? Because at this point, we can control ourselves. We can control the fact that we're in the market in the right direction right now, we can certainly control that we're still in this trade. We can control whether we push the button or not based on what we see in the market. What we can't control itself is the direction the market wants to go. All right, that we ourselves are not making this happen. This is a whole lot of other factors that are not in our control. This is institutional money. This is bank money. This is governments. This is foreign policy. This is monetary policy. This is stuff happening with gold, stuff happening with the US dollar, stuff that I don't even know what's going on, right? So I don't know, I like I said, I don't know everything, and I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. To be a great teacher, you must be a student and a master at the same time. And we can just control the fact that we are in this direction right now because we saw something in the market that dictates that we are in that particular direction at this particular time. And we don't need to go ahead and do anything else in order to change that. There's no need on our part. We just got to go ahead and let the market do what it wants to do. And if it wants to move our way, great. And if not, fantastic. We have a plan and we move forward. And I closed that trade right there for 30 pips, like I said I was going to do. And that's how we have to practice trading. We can't get scared in this market. Yes, we have a little bit of drawdown right now, and that's scary. But again, we have to understand that every day in this market is going to be completely different. We are going to have winning days. We are going to have losing days. We're going to have winning trades. We're going to have losing trades. That is just a fact in this market. And it can get overwhelming. It's a $6 trillion a day market. It's a vast ocean of a lot of things. For someone who's just starting to paddle, swim, it can get really tough out there, especially if you're going at it alone. Now, I'm comfortable doing things alone, right? I did have resources, so I'm not going to pretend like I just doing all of this on my own. There were resources I had. There were people that showed me the right direction. However, I knew that a lot of the stuff that I figured out, the strategy, how to even open my account, how to put real money into the account, all of that. No one showed me how to do that, right? I did all that on my own. I had the control. I had the freedom to do all of this. I made the choices to do this. And so we can understand how much control and how much freedom we actually do have to go into this market. Then we already have the psychology battle won, right? Now, it's not enough to just believe, right, that we can get into this market and win. What we need is the insights, the tools, the skills, the expertise, and the specific strategies that will empower us to achieve true and lasting prosperity. Right? It's not enough for me to believe to say that I am a master investor and I am a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner. That's why I've been writing in my journals. It's not enough for me to just believe I am a world-changing emperor. I am a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner. I am a global network. It's not enough for me to just say that, journal that, and call it great, right? We have to put in the progress, culture of progress. We have to put in the progress in order to make it work. We have to put in the, okay, we're going to take this trade, not just because I believe it's going to be a great trade where we can make some money off of that trade. We have to understand, okay, right now the market is going down. Right now we're in a downtrend. Right now we just broke a major support level. Right now our software is telling us to take a sell right here. Right now, all this. And granted, I'm seeing this right now. I can point all this out to you right now. But let me tell you, I'm confident teaching this right now. And before, I had to first pick up the experience of about a year and counted 10 months. Year and 10 months of practicing in the Forex market, going through the ups, going through the downs, battling the emotions, battling the highs, battling the lows, battling the joy, battling the depression, all of that. All of that. And thank God I have a great support system, right? I know not everybody has that. I know, and now now I'm needing to understand that I have the keys and now the tools to drive. At this point, I have to understand that it needs to be just me doing this, right? We have to all walk our own path of life. And here's the scary part about all that. Or not scary, but something you're going to learn if you go down the path, if you walk the shoes that I have walked. And I'm not trying to pat myself, get the pity stories going out, none of all that. No. I'm saying this more so to convey to you the price of this. It's going to be costly. I don't know what that cost is going to look like to you, but I know what the cost was for me. However, with that being said, there was a quote by one of my teachers now, Dr. Luis Ariaza, fantastic gentleman, who I hope to have him here at some point, or you get to meet him at some point. It'll happen. But one of the quotes that really stuck out to me that was just, it woed my mind was, when the promise is clear, the price is easy. Let me write that down for everybody. When the price is clear, I'm sorry, the promise. Oh, Jordan, type better. When the promise is clear, the price is easy. So here's the promise for me. The promise is I am a world-changing emperor. The promise is I am a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner. The promise is I am a global network. What's the price? Doing the lot. And when I say price, right, doesn't mean it has to be costly. I love this. I love podcasting. I love Forex trading. And for a while, I was branching out in two different directions. I was podcasting about different stuff, and I was also Forex trading. There were two paths that were diverging from each other. I wish you could see my hands, but right now I'm having my hands go in two different directions, right? So they were going in two different directions. And so for this journey, instead of it having branch out and divide, let's do this instead. Let's build a bridge to where both points connect. And I'm able to do two things that I love at the same time. And it gives me the time freedom to do other things that are necessary. And here's those doubts. Here's those things that come into your head. Are people going to want to watch you Forex trade? Are people going to want to see you make money? Are people going to want to hear you talk about all this stuff? That's doubt. That's doubt. And that doubt did not allow me to see what I could do here. And now that I'm at a point where I don't want to give up podcasting and I don't want to give up Forex trading, those are two of my loves right there. And so now I have to understand that this may not be the most popular topic out in the world. I may or may not. My aspirations, my vision is to reach so many people out there. But even if a person, even if two people, even if three people get something from this, get a little education in this, and I help them make money along the way, then by golly, I have done my own job. I've done my job. I can I can I can I can go to the universe saying I've done my job. I have done my purpose. And so we carry on. We carry on. Now, there's some other things that we want to talk about, in the realm of forex trading, or even just the financial game in general. And that is we need to learn the rules of the financial game, who the players are, what the agendas are, where you can get hurt, and how you can win. And this knowledge can set you free. Let me write that down. Write this down. Let me write this down. In fact, I want everyone to write this down. You need to learn. Here's the objectives for the forex trading. This is what we need to determine, all of us together. The rules, who the players are, what the agendas are, let me get that out of the way, what the agendas are, where you can get hurt, and how you can win. And that we're going to cover. May not be all in today's recording, may just take a few, may bleed into the next day. However, we're going to uncover specifically all that. And we even talked about already a little bit about that on the previous days, right? But we're going to go ahead and we're going to compile it all together for you. And we're going to break down specifically all this, because this knowledge right here can set us free. Hey everybody, so we are back, and we're about to get to that point where we are about to not only close for the week but for the weekend, and we see that we have a sell arrow going in our direction. Now we can definitely see, since the last trade that we took, that price has come down just a little bit. Now, as far as what we are wanting to do with this sell arrow, again, we need to wait until this particular candle closes. We certainly do not want to go ahead and jump the gun on this particular trade necessarily. So we're going to go ahead and allow the trade or the candle, I should say, to play out. Make sure that we are indeed still in the right direction for a sell, and then we will take it from there. Now, while this is going on, I alluded to the rules, the players, the agendas, where you can get hurt, how you can win in the Forex market. So while we have this time together before we're done for the day, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So let's first talk about the rules. Now, the rules are going to be important in this space because we need to understand when it is appropriate to trade and when it is not appropriate to trade. And so those rules we're going to define as first risk management rules. Because if anything, this is going to be the most important in terms of what we are about to do here. Because think of it like this. If we can't control our risk and we blindly go into this thing, not having a plan on that, then as much money as we can make on the account, we can also lose it. And I have done that many, many times where I have been able to generate a balance and then completely bomb it because I didn't know. And I've done this on multiple accounts, multiple times throughout my 2 years. And this was probably one of the most important things I had to learn before I could really do the things that we're doing right now. So what does that look like for us? Well, the first thing that we need to understand about risk management is that golden rule that I was talking about with this particular pair. Now, there are going to be multiple rules that we talk about as we move forward with the journey. However, we're going to talk about the gold pair, XAU USD, and the risk management rules there. And for those that remember, I talked about this, I believe, on one of my previous days. I believe it was either day 1 or day 2. But the rule for gold was, and I affectionately called it the golden rule, but for every $100 in my account, we are adjusting our lot size by 0.01. Yeah, by 0.01. Now, I do want to make a clarification on that rule, right? Because as we can see, our balance is $132.54. The equity is $115.19 so far. Now, again, this can change because we are about to enter a trade. We are about to enter a trade right now. And that can change either in the upside or on the downside. However, we are in that sell trade. Now, we are going to base our risk management rule on the principle of equity. So this rule right here, let's make an arrow. We're basing this rule, there we go. We're basing this rule on the equity amount for our strategy. So what does that look like? Whatever this says, this number right here, whatever that says, that's our lot size. So if that equity is about 114 and our balance is 200, let's say, we still stick with 0.01 until the equity rises to $200. And in that way, we make sure that we are protecting ourselves and we don't get hurt in the market, which we will talk about a little bit later, how you can get hurt in this market, because we have to cover it, because that's important for you to grow as a trader. And sometimes you will have to just take the hurt, right? And we'll move on that principle a little bit later into our journey, right? However, sometimes we have to embrace that pain and embrace that hurt in order to be better. I know I had to go through it multiple times. And a lot of that was mainly based on my stubbornness to stay rigid and not be flexible and not change when I needed to change. And I am perfectly okay with saying that. I am perfectly okay with saying, hey, I did all this stuff wrong, and I want to be on here to teach you how to not do all that stuff wrong. So, again, we have to play by these rules right here. So that's the first rule. Now, what is the next rule, right? So what's our next rule? So the second rule of our risk management strategy is when the arrow is displayed, we take the trade. The down arrow, we take the sell. The up arrow, we take the buy. Very simple rules. If the arrow is pointing down, we take the sell. And if the arrow points up, we take the buy. How simple is that? Now, I don't mean to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Patronizing, or I don't mean to make it sound so obvious, but yeah, that's basically the idea. But how come that idea is so important? Because think about it. When we took that buy trade earlier today, and obviously it didn't go our way, but what we were following was the trend. So this is these two rules right here. These two rules they are based on the trend. And don't worry, I'm looking at that clock to make sure I'm making the right move. But these are based on the trend. See that arrow? Right now it changed. We're about to get into another trade. We're about to do a cost average. That's how our rule, our rule works. So this is all based on the trend. When the buy arrow appeared, that was because we were in a uptrend at that moment in history. And so based on the trend, based on knowing who, and we'll talk about the players, but based on knowing where the direction of the market was going, that was the direction we were taking. And then when it didn't work out, the arrow disappeared, right? And we'll get into that rule in just a second. But then we went into the sell trend. We took this trade right here where that arrow was, because now it was pointing in a bearish direction. So then we went ahead and we took that sell trade, right? And because we're still in a downward trend until otherwise, here, let's take that sell, right? Now, until otherwise, we're going to continue to take a sell until we don't have to, right? So it's all based on the trend. If there's anything to learn, the trend, in fact, I'll do this in capital letters so that we make sure we know what we're talking about here. The trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. I've heard this saying so many times, and you'll probably hear it 1,000 more times on our journey together. The trend is your friend, and we do not need to we do not need to move away from that. Trend is our friend. The trend is our ally, our compatriot, our buddy, our guy, our pal. For those who know about South Park, you'll probably get the joke. But anyway, the trend is our friend. So we follow along with what our friends want to do. And so if a friend wants to sell, we're going to go sell. If a friend wants to buy, we're going to go buy. Now, here's the next rule for risk management. When the arrow disappears, we make sure the margin is cut to 0. That's a rule. That's very important because that helps. This right here protects our equity. And if there is any number that you need to pay attention to the most, it's equity. That is the thing that keeps our trading alive, and that's the thing that keeps our trading going. Think of it like this, right? Let's pretend that this is a car, this is a vehicle, and the amount of gas that we can handle in our account is the balance, right? So imagine this right here is the amount of gas that we can handle in the tank. Now, the fuel that's allowing us to keep going is this right here, the equity. If that equity goes down to 0 or an undesirable number, then that is it. The car is dead. It cannot move anymore. You have to start over. You have to put in more gas. You have to put in more fuel, more money. And our objective is to not do that. We don't want to put more money in than we need to. I've started this balance at $100, and my intention is to make sure we don't put any more in. This is it. And if for some reason that doesn't happen, well, then we're okay with that because we know how important this journey is, and we'll start over. But the idea is that we're not going to do that together. That's what I don't want anybody to do. That's why I want to go ahead and record what I'm doing, because I want to show everybody how I'm trading, how I'm doing it, and the way that I'm doing it, believing in myself that my skill level can do, that I can do this, that I can be the 10, 11, 12 counting figure, the master investor that I have it in myself, in my inner being. I want to show you how you can do the same exact thing. so that we can all win together. That's the point of all of this, is to make sure that we can all win together. So, going back to our rule, when the arrow disappears, we make sure the margin is cut to zero, we protect our equity, and we wait for the next trade. And that's really the rules to this game that are important. If you can remember how to set proper risk management, how to set your proper lot size, if you know how to enter a trade, how to exit that trade, and the reasons and the purpose for doing that, you've already won. You've already won. The name of the game is equity. I've heard people say, no, the name of the game is free margin, and that's fair, because free margin also helps with, setting yourself some trading opportunities. But really, the name of the game here is equity, because equity is that fuel that allows your account to keep going. Now, let's understand who the players are in this game. All right. The players in the Forex market. Because there are some players that we need to go ahead and we need to pay attention to. Now, those players, I'm going to break down from the simplest level to the more complex. So in order of simple to complex, that's us, the retail traders. That's you and me. We are playing with a very small account balance in the grand scheme of things. Like $100 in a 6 trillion and growing a day market is so minute, so small, so marginal. We're not controlling the market here. And let's not kid ourselves. We're not controlling the market. And so if we understand that we are not controlling the market, then we don't feel a certain way to keep hanging on to a trade that's obviously not working. That's obviously not going to go in the direction that we seek. Now, it's like, think of it like this, right? We're in a cell right now. And so far, pretend we are the shepherds leading the animal to drink water. The signal tells us, okay, we need to have that animal drink water. And so far, the animal is listening to us. However, if that arrow disappears, that's as if the animal is going to stop following us. And we can't have that animal drink if they don't want to. We can't have this market become a sell market if it doesn't want to. So that's when we need to go ahead and we need to get out. So that's number one. That's the us. That's who we are. Now, number two, you've got institutional traders. Now, these guys, they have a little bit of pull in the market. They're playing with a lot more capital than us. They're handling a lot of different people, a lot of different accounts here and there. So they've got a good pull on where things can go. However, they don't have as nearly as a balance as some of the other players. So while they can make small little ticks here and there, they could do little things here and there, they're also not the bigger part of this picture. They got way more capital than us right now. Now, could that happen? Could we make things a little bit different? Sure. But we're not thinking about the future. We're thinking about present. Remember, everything in the Forex market is present, present, present. Present time consciousness. I learned that from Dr. Luis Ariasa. Present time consciousness. Presently, we are not more powerful than institutional traders. We are very much a very small, minute picture of this. Now, that's okay to understand that right now, that we are a very small picture, because that gives us a perspective of we have to follow the leader, at least right now. And if institutional traders, they pick a direction, we go with that direction most of the time, because they're going to move the markets way bigger than we can, at least for right now. So institutional traders, that's another one. Now, the third one, hedge funds. Now, these guys got a lot more capital than you and I, or even the institutional traders. They're big, big, big companies, big organizations with big pools of funds from investors that can spend a little capital. And they are going to really control the market. Well, not in a sense of the other players, but they've got even more of a bigger pool than the institutional traders. So us as the retail traders, we're going to follow the institutional traders, right? So we're going to follow the institutional traders, who in turn are going to follow the hedge funds. And oh, by the way, it's almost time for me to get closed. So let's go ahead and let's start to do that. So remember how I said I made a mistake before on the markets? Well, that mistake may have turned out to be a happy accident, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my margin down to 0. I'm going to go to my profit right here, and I'm going to make sure I've got the right number by selecting this guy right here. Where's my pen? Oh boy, I'm not panicking. All right, it's just a few cents here and there, but we're just going to make sure we have that turned up by left clicking the profit, make sure that arrow is pointing up. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to close the trades that have the most profit to get our margin down to 0 for the day. And we've won. That's it. No more trading. Okay. Now let's finish up this lesson right here. Okay. So again, going back to what we're doing, we, the retail traders, follow the institutional traders that follow the hedge funds. Now, who do the hedge funds follow? Banks, governments, and central banks. These guys are the players. These guys have the capital. These guys move the markets like that. These are the guys that dictate how these markets move. And all we're doing, and all they're doing is they're pushing it up, down, whatever. And so the way that this particular system goes, the players in the Forex market, the way that we need to understand how to follow, we're going to follow the institutional traders that follow the hedge funds, that follow the banks, governments, and central banks. And that's how we make money in this game. Now, over the course of time, right, there could be a point where we could leapfrog some of these people. I'm not, you have to understand, we don't care about that right now. We care about just doing what we need to do to make sure that our profits are moving forward in the right direction. Now, if we put our head to the grindstone, if we keep working on it, if we keep trading, if we do the things that we know are working, and we take the trades and keep going and going and going, be allowing ourselves to accrue a higher equity, which in turn accrues a higher balance, which in turn accrues a higher lot size, then things can happen. Things will happen. Things are happening. However, we have to understand the present time that we are not the ones controlling the market. And all we're doing, all our role is to follow the leaders, make the money that we can, and then we take it from there. So, for homework, here's what I want everybody to do. Get yourself a demo account. Mind you, I didn't say real account. Especially to those who are just brand spanking new to this game, get yourself a demo account and practice. Because practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress. However, if you practice what you're practicing perfectly, it does make perfect. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to be perfect. The only thing you have to worry about is progressing. It's a culture of progress, and we're going to keep it that way. Now, speaking of progress, let's take a look at our results today. Here's our equity that we started out with. I rewrote this down at the beginning of today's call, $112.55. Now we're at $118.55. That's $6. That is 6% we progressed today. That's an amazing job. And if you duplicate those exact results, you have done an amazing job. And that's what we're going to keep doing every single day until I'm 200 plus years old and more. Because this is not going away. Neither are we. So with that being said, get yourself a demo account. Take a look at the replay and make sure you chalk up all the information that's needed. And we're going to come back here on Monday, and we are going to do the same exact thing again. Everybody, have a blessed weekend and happy trading.